The following training is sponsored by the Niagara Library System. We serve our member libraries in Niagara, Orleans, and Genesee counties. You can always visit our main web page listed here at niagara.org, or certainly visit your local library homepage and use your library card to get access to streaming videos, downloadable music, audiobooks, ebooks, and even more from the comfort of your own home. Thank you.
Hello, and here we are again with the soft skills opposites, talking about time management versus time wasting. And as I went through these the opposites, there's a reason why we don't talk about things like wasting time or negative attitudes or inflexibility, falling into ruts and things like that. It's because we do it so naturally. We have to actually work, and we can work on actually getting and building ourselves up to working and using things better and doing things the best we can as we can. So, but in this vein, I'm going to continue on with the opposites and talking a little bit about time wasting. I did find the following graphics here at a site called HireTale. I thought that was cool. It's hire, H-I-R-E, and then tale, T-A-L-E. So tale like the story. I'm not 100% certain where how to take these graphics or where they got them from, because all I could find on the site was according to a recent survey. I have no idea if the survey was how it was produced, who answered the survey, were there control groups, was it a peer-reviewed study? I'm going to take it as anecdotal evidence, but it's kind of interesting, and I really like the graphics, so that I will, of course, have the link here, and the links will be in the description. So as far as, and this is a little bit older, this was from 2014, so these graphics are from about 2012, 2013, so but it's interesting in that even in this first graphic here, let me roll this up here, from 2012 to 2013, there was an admitted 5% jump in the amount of time wasted at work. So people are at least admitting it. And of those who choose to waste time at work, only 3% say it's because of low pay. There's other reasons. And then interestingly, towards the end of the day, here it says 27% waste time between 3 and 5 p.m. and 43% say they waste time on Fridays. So, okay. And as far as if you are going to waste time, what are you doing? Well, at this point, again, this is almost 10 years ago. So, talking with coworkers, was number one, web surfing, was number two. And then far down the list was things like social media, texting, personal calls, and then shopping online. And in this graphic right here, I'll see if I can zoom in on this. 19% of workers agree that meetings are the biggest barrier to office productivity. Okay, so that's there. And again, on this graphic, this is basically a graphic of the United States. And if you travel from the East Coast over to the West Coast, looking at the graphic, it appears that more time is wasted on the West Coast than it is on the East Coast. So, I don't know. Again, this is all anecdotal type evidence. So, but it's interesting, and it does play into kind of the old historical, work ethics and those types of things. So, that's there. And then the last graphic here that I have is industries with the most time wasted. It talks about government, energy and utilities, agriculture, and then the percent who never waste time at work. They say health, medical and health. And there's a lot of scheduling and things like that has to go on. So, there it is. Of workers, 60% say internet browsing actually increases productivity. That's interesting. Maybe I should do a video on that. Maybe talk to me, let me know. Okay. Internet browsing increases productivity. I guess you can find out a lot of things on the internet. So, and I went over to, Ian Giles from 2017. He talks about stop wasting time at work, 7 productivity tips to help you get it done. And this was on the medium.com website. And he writes, you're probably wasting way more time at work than you think. A 2015 Forbes article by Cheryl Snap Connor highlights the epidemic of time wasting at work, citing a salary.com survey where 89% of the respondents say they waste time every single day. And that's a 20% increase from the previous year. So from 2014 up to 2015. According to the surveys, 31% of employees waste 30 minutes daily. Another 31% waste a whole hour. 38% spend even more staggering amounts of time off task, between 2 and 5 or more hours a day. Using cell phones, conversations with coworkers, browsing the internet, snack breaks are amongst the most time-sucking culprits, not to mention the constant interruptions of email. Now, one of the other things that they talked about in this article, and I forget if I actually had this, but it is in the original, so if you want to go back and take a look at it, please do, obviously. How difficult it is once your concentration has been broken from one task to then get back into the bigger picture and to work then well. So email, and when your phone bings and boops and vibrates and all of that, it pulls your attention away, and then you have to refocus again. And that refocusing is really can be very, very difficult for our brains. It's trainable. Everything is trainable in that. So, but let's talk about the 7 things that he talks about to help manage your time better. So number 1, practice deep work. Now, the general idea behind deep work is this: in our hyper-connected world, chock full of smartphones and social media, it doesn't let us concentrate. You sit down to work on a project, 2 minutes in, you have to attend to an email or a text or a coworker tapping you on the shoulder. With so many distractions, your productivity then tanks. To combat this, New Power recommends blocking off long periods of distraction-free time to dive into your work and really let your brain focus. And I had talked about this in a previous video about where you can actually, even if you're at work, that you can set certain times where I'm not going to check emails or I'm not going to do. And again, take this with a grain of salt. I know we work in a customer service environment, so you can't always schedule everything. So let's not get too hung up on that. And as far as that goes, maybe if you can manage 10 minutes, they talk about an hour or an hour and a half. If you can manage 10 minutes, that's a good start. Start there, okay? So do that. All right. And then they talk about actually designing your time. Google for Work director Thomas Davies is a big advocate for gaining a big picture perspective of your work so you get a better hold on his time. Davies organizes his tasks into 4 main quadrants: people development, business operations, transactional tasks, and representative tasks. And of course, quadrants will look different for each person depending on your work duties and priorities, but he knows that letting your brain attack one task at a time produces the best results. Your first step in working deeply is to block out time to work on one task or project for no less than 90 minutes. There it is. If I can get 5 minutes and sometimes 10 minutes, depending on, what's going on, I would actually go ahead, give yourself a pat on the back. That's okay. So get started. Okay. Do the most important things first. Dealing with the most important or most urgent projects first ensures that you get the work done to get to work on that really matters. Starting with easier, smaller projects and busy work can help you feel productive. And sometimes it's okay to start there, especially if you're not motivated. But it does tend to distract you from larger goals and leave you then with too little time to devote to then your priorities. Of course, in order to work on the most important projects, you also have to identify what those projects are. And here's where you ask yourself, what would the consequences be of not completing these particular tasks? So, and again, to manage your time, you have to take time to manage your time. So it seems a little counterintuitive, but to actually slow down, all right? And remember, if going and running around like a chicken with your head cut off is not good. If you go smooth, the smoother you can go, the faster you're going to be, okay? So take the time to organize your time and go from there, okay? And breathe. Aggregate distractions. Think about grouping your distractions into blocks. This may look like choosing a couple of specific times a day to check or answer emails instead of constantly monitoring your inbox. Turning off social media alerts when you're at work, but setting aside a midday break to catch up with everybody. So if you can organize and kind of compact your distractions, that can be very, very helpful. Certainly organize your thoughts. Bulleted lists are a great way to organize your mental clutter, freeing up the space that you would normally set aside to try and remember your to-do list. Just about every article you read about mental organization and productivity will tell you to write things down. However, it's not always quite that easy. You can use electronic products like Workflowy, he talks about, Evernote, or plain old pad and a pencil or a pen. It's crucial to have a system in place that allows you to kind of arrange and then clarify everything. Learn the power of no. That's a tough one. That is, as a librarian, I hear that and I go, my heart, But we can't agree to everything, okay? The more things we agree to do, the less time we get spent on important matters. So not only is it important to say no, but it's also important how you say no. Tact, timing, and tone. Tact, timing, and tone, remember. Figuring out how to turn down someone can be tough, and that's why you can come up with a strategy for how to say no, maybe some sort of a template, whether it's an email template, a few sentences you can recite in person, etc., and try and be as tactful as you can. And then the last one, it does say create your best workspace, and I know I've set myself up with curtains and other things to just kind of shield the background and do work, and surrounding yourself with things that you like that help you feel good and feel positive and can be very, very helpful. And actually, I know a lot of us have been kind of fun. I was joking that I have a dog and cats. They're my new coworkers. So you never know if you're working at home, you're working at work, you're driving around, all kinds of things. Creating your best workspace, wherever it may be, can be extremely helpful. So take care. It's great to see everybody, and we'll see you in the next one.